Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you've had a great Saturday, a great start to your weekend. If you notice, I look a little different than what I did this morning. It's because I got a haircut today. So I've got a lot of hair cut off, a little bit more than I wanted to, but no worries here. There's actually something different we're going to talk about this evening, and that is the early week significant storm system that looks likely to hit Florida, areas of Georgia, maybe even the Carolinas. But this could be a significant storm system for areas of Florida. A severe weather aspect to it, heavy rain, and some strong winds. It's technically non-tropical. It's December. Hurricane season is technically over. But this definitely looks like a mini tropical system in the eastern Gulf of Mexico that could potentially develop. It's not going to be a named storm or anything like that, but it could bring some of the impacts that a weak tropical storm does bring, which is sometimes severe weather, some stronger winds, and some heavy rain. So that's what we're going to talk about. So you folks in Florida, maybe southern areas of Georgia, definitely tune into this. We're going to talk about this, and then briefly, right at the end of the video, we're going to mention that a storm system well out in the Atlantic, that can be way out in the Atlantic around Christmas Eve, Christmas, that has since trended a little bit more northwest. We'll see if it can phase with the northern piece of energy, but I'll show y'all what I'm talking about here in a second. But let's talk about this storm system. No sense in getting super detailed about it because it's pretty cut and dry information. If you guys have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Like the video if you like it. Appreciate the amazing support, continuous support. It's really appreciated. So here we go. We're looking at tomorrow evening starting off, and going forward here, we're getting into Monday morning, and here comes this system. Now, it looks like just a Gulf storm here, nothing too crazy, but look at this millibars begin to deepen here. Not much on the GFS, but the GFS has it much more south and hitting more so just the peninsula of Florida as just a low pressure moves up, and then it kind of gets on the other side of the of Florida, on the eastern side of Florida, and begins to deepen off the coast of the Carolinas and moves away. The GFS isn't as crazy as the European is. You look at the European run here, and we're going through here in time. We're getting into Monday morning, getting into Tuesday morning. Here's the storm system right now. It's much more north, brings us a section in the panhandle of Florida. Where exactly it's going to hit, we're not quite sure, but it brings an area of very heavy rain, and then it brings an area of some stronger winds, even at the surface. I'm talking about 30, 40, maybe 50 mile per hour winds, maybe. And what happens here is this continues to move northeast, and basically a low-level jet shoots over the peninsula of Florida, and what that means is some shear in place. So there may be a severe weather threat for the peninsula of Florida as we're getting into maybe Tuesday evening into Wednesday. But we need to get these short-range models to really see if that is going to occur here. On the northern end of this storm, you get some much-needed rain into the Carolinas, but how far north does this rain shield get? It's still a big question mark. But this is a potent little storm system. It's almost like a mini tropical storm, if you will. And oftentimes on the eastern flanks of these storms, a lot of times you get a severe weather threat. And that could potentially occur in the peninsula of Florida as we get into early next week. So we'll watch that. We'll watch the further north that this low pressure is, I think the more of a severe weather threat will be in place for Florida. But don't discount also the strong wind threat potentially with this too. Now we look at basically the low pressure and how deep it gets on the European. It gets rather deep. This is deepening a sub 1,000 millibar low pressure. And then makes landfall as that around the panhandle of Florida or the Big Bend of Florida as a pretty strong low pressure. Moves over and continues to go off the coast of the Carolinas and then go on and move northeast. But it's almost like a mini non-tropical storm. Very weak. We'll see if this trend's any stronger. There's still, and I meant to pull this up and I forgot, but there's still some stronger. There's still some warmish waters in this area of the Gulf of Mexico. So there's a little oomph to work with, if you will. As far as wind speeds, I just shared this on my Twitter. Wind gusts, potential wind gusts. These are measured in knots here. But look at this area. Look at this area of stronger winds. To me, it makes me seem that there is some tight gradients with this storm system. and has some tropical characteristics, if you will, or non-tropical characteristics. Whatever the way you word it, it almost looks like a weak tropical storm. So these winds start to move on shore maybe as early as Tuesday morning into the Panhandle of Florida, Pensacola, Mexico Beach. These areas need to watch out because this could be a brief area of some gusty winds. I'm talking 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, maybe more, moving into the Panhandle of Florida. And then you have these winds potentially mixing to the surface in south and central and southern areas of Georgia. And it's probably going to be a breezy day for Georgia and Florida. And then getting into Wednesday morning, a breezy day across the Carolinas with this low pressure. So this thing is going to potentially pack a little bit of a punch. I really think it will. As far as a low-level jet, I want to get a little bit closer version of this. But if you look at the European, here's a storm system, and here's that low-level jet right here shooting over Florida. So you have a pretty decent, 50 to 60 knot low-level jet. It's nothing crazy, but that's enough to promote a little bit of shear. And this moves on off the coast and becomes harmless. As far as precipitation, we'll take a look at the European. This brings some rain across the peninsula of Florida, maybe 3 to 4 inches of rain into the peninsula of Florida, and then into the Panhandle of Florida. I'm sorry if I've been getting the Panhandle and the peninsula. I just realized that I might have been getting it mixed up a little bit. But this brings some much needed rain into the Panhandle of Florida, and then to southern Georgia, and then hopefully into the Carolinas, which we still need rain. There's still a drought condition right here. My house right now is actually about to get rocked by a line of storms. I'm actually hoping to end the video before and then I can go check it out. But as far as what happens after this, another low pressure develops right here. And pretty strong low pressure. But if you back this up 4 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs, 7 runs, 8 runs, this is about 2 days worth of runs, right? There's nothing here. Now I'm going to fast forward it into the current run. And this is, overnight Christmas Eve into Christmas Eve, if you will. I'm going to forward it all the way into the current run. And then look at this system kind of slowly, I wouldn't even call it slowly. It's pretty quickly trending northwest. So now that we've mentioned it, does it stop? Which typically happens. But if this continues, for whatever reason, if this was to continue to trend northwest, there's enough cold air right here, plenty enough cold air in the mid-Atlantic and especially northeast for this to be a winter storm. So we'll watch this. It's very interesting storm. Obviously, if you get it too close, the cold air will also become more of a problem if you all of a sudden trend this all the way into the northeast. That means that you probably have a little bit of a weaker high pressure influence. But we'll continue to watch that storm. But it's definitely important to mention that Gulf storm. And I wonder if it's going to become more of a talk here in the next 24 hours. But that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. And y'all have a great night.